All right, okay. So let's begin. Karaniya Metta Sutta. Okay. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, do we need to unmute people or no? Okay.
They have to unmute themselves.
Okay, they have to if they want to. Okay. If they want to speak, okay. So, is there anybody here who hasn't meditated before? No? Everybody has meditated. That's pretty good. So, as you probably have in your experience, I don't know what your experience is, meditation is quite easy, right? Theoretically. What they say is just the process of just letting it be. You let things be and it just happens by itself. But actually it doesn't happen because all our defilements of our mind, they come and your thoughts come, they want to drag you into other places, and the pull of the world, because of so much momentum it carries, when we sit down, whatever we were doing, we probably want to think about the past or worry about the future or have anxiety about it, Yeah. But but it requires a lot of patience, you know. And in the beginning, we try to meditate, you know, we force ourselves, you know, trying to kind of like, you know, stop those thoughts, you know, we try to use will, you know, and we try to use all these kind of different sort of like, you know, methods in the world that we are used to, like, you know. So that is with the force. But in actually meditation, we don't try to use force. We use wisdom power instead, right? A lot of patience, a lot of loving kindness or friendliness, you know, in other words, you know. I think the Sanskrit word for metta is like, you know, maitri. Maitri means like being kind of like friendliness, you know. And like in India, still the same word, maitri means like being of friendliness. And like in Punjabi, as my mother tongue, as one of the Indian languages, you call it a mittar. Mittar, metta is just being a friend, right? So when you are a friend to your mind, to whatever is going on, you know, things calm down. So when we sit with our friends, we'll say, oh, how's it going? You know, we ask how they are. And they are pretty relaxed, right? You know, and they tell us, you know, their problems or, you know, whatever information they don't share with other people, you tell your friends, right? You calm down, you know, you have a good time, you have a coffee or whatever, right? So if you are a friend to your mind, have metta, right? Then it settles down pretty quick. But the important thing is being patient. You know, when we are patient, you know, because it takes time for all the momentum to sort of like, you know, slowly come to halt. So meditation is a lot about attitude to things. So, you know, many people do, I don't know, when they come across meditation, they do breath meditation. But breath meditation is actually one of the hardest meditation sort of objects. It's very fine, very subtle. But if you start with this sort of like a present moment awareness or body scanning, you know, then things becomes easier, you know. When your mind sort of like settle down, and then you can move into the breath if you want. But the problem sort of like happens, that's one of the common problems, is people start to control the breath, you know. They don't try to let it be, you know, just watching it as it is, like, you know, breath coming in, breath going out. So the important thing to remember is our attitude, you know, how we observe things, you know, letting things be, you know. Or you can say renouncing things, nikamma, right? Not try to change, not trying to control, you know, just like observing it from a distance. Whatever is happening, just observe with wisdom. Don't get caught up in it, and don't try to go with the sort of like, hey, this shouldn't be there, this shouldn't be there, you know. So be kind. But that takes time, and it actually also takes practice, a lot of practice. So if you incorporate these things into daily life, you know, when we are working or interacting with people, you know, you just observe, you know, you listen to other people carefully, right? Then the other person also notices, oh, this person is also listening to me very attentively, right? So you tend to have like better relations with other people. So when you have this kind of a attitude, then you naturally would bring it to your meditation practice when you sit down. Because this is the same mind which you carry. It's not going to be something different. So it's all about changing your attitude to things, and reading the words of the Buddha, getting inspired. This is one of the other things to keep you on going onto the path is inspiration and your feedback. Looking at your meditation with sort of wisdom, so you get this feedback. And if you had a good time, observe, well, yeah, meditation did help me. Now I feel much more calm and peaceful, and sort of automatically your mind takes notice of it, and next time you naturally want to sit because you got some good results. So now maybe it's probably good time we can sort of meditate. Then we can take maybe question and answers in the end. Yeah. So we start off by having a comfortable posture. So everybody, if you want to cross your legs or want to sit on a chair or even lie down. So we start off by closing our eyes. And we become aware of our body. And you feel the posture of the body. If you need to adjust, please do so. So your body can be comfortable for another 30 minutes or so. So gently bring your attention onto your body. So we start from our feet. You can feel your feet touching the floor, the pressure on sole of your feet. Now we gently move upwards to the top of our feet. just becoming aware of it, of any kind of sensations you might have. It doesn't matter what they feel like. The whole purpose is just to be aware of it. Now moving upwards, taking your attention to the lower legs. Observing gently and we put mindfulness to our body. It just starts to become relaxed. We don't try to relax, but it just naturally becomes relaxed. That's the power of mindfulness. Now slowly moving to our thighs. You can feel the thighs touching the chair or the ground. You can Take your attention all around the thighs. And they become relaxed. We take our attention onto our back, from all the way from the bottom up to the neck. And try to feel if you have any tension or ache or pain in your back. And just be aware of it with kindness. And letting your back becoming relaxed. We gently bring our attention to our tummy and the chest area. And we allow our body to have a rest, a deep rest. we gently bring our attention onto our hands and the arms. And then becoming aware of any pressure or sensation you might have in your hands. And throw out all your arms. We let our arms rest, being grateful to your arms who do so much work throughout the day. Now moving upwards, take our attention onto our face. And becoming aware of all the muscles around the mouth. And observe all the facial muscles with kindness. we take our attention to our inner world. We look at our mind. You can see the mind wandering on stuff from the past. Or thinking about the future. But it's not the time to worry about stuff. Now is the time to let go, to let things be. The past is gone. We cannot change the past. That's why we don't need to worry about it. All we have is now. So we are kind to it. So we are grateful for this present. We give importance to it. If the mind wanders, don't get frustrated. Just allow it to be. Gently bring it back. And let it observe without being caught up. we make our mind our best friend. When we become friends with our mind, we want to hang out with it. And we are happy being in the present. Observing kindly. If we learn to live in the present, we reap so many rewards. And we live a happy life without stress. It's because people have so much stress and anxiety and worries. Because they don't live in the present. We are coming close towards the end of meditation. Now is the time to reflect on how your mind have changed compared to half an hour. What has happened? So allow it for a minute or so. When I ring the meditation bell, after the third bell, you can come out of meditation. Oh, very good. So, Pinder, we take questions now?
Yeah, we could start with those.
Okay.
And, see how it goes.
Okay.
I would like to ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
You said it's really important to not to do it with willpower, better to do it with wisdom power.
Yeah.
But these words are really difficult to understand for me, because in my normal life I have a feeling I always try to do it with willpower, but I don't know how to contemplate in the other direction.
Okay. Wisdom power is understanding things, right? So when you understand that the nature of things, right? And when you try to kind of like forcefully want to change, right? So there is a difference in that. Yeah. So when you understand, oh, this is how it is, right? And this is what wisdom is. Yeah, understanding things.
But comes it automatically, or do I have to do it in that situation when I have a feeling now it's getting more in this wanting?
Yeah, when you become
part?
aware,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, when you become aware of things, right? So you don't have to do, right? So you just become aware. The more you do it, then you start to gain perspective. Ah, this is how it is, right? When we first become aware of something, we automatically want to change it, right? But the more experience we have, then when we see, okay, yeah, then our reaction to things changes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So willpower is we want to change it, right? Rather than understanding it. So, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's actually the matter of patience.
Yes, I try to.
Yeah. A lot of patience. Yeah. Right. Ajahn Chah, I think Ajahn Chah used to say, he's like, okay, you meditate, the more you meditate, there would be difficulties, but he said with the time you'll see through them. It's not like you're not going to get stuck. It's the persistence. So it's the patience, yeah. And so we don't bring our normal conditionality into play. Here we go again. We get triggered, because of our previous experience. When somebody says something, because we have formed a personality, our automatic reactions go off. Right? So, and it's the same, yeah. So we have to kind of change that attitude of our mind. Yeah, and that takes time. Yeah. So anybody else has a question?
Venerable, if there are no meditation... sorry, Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a really enjoyable meditation. It was very relaxing.
Good.
Thank you. I attend a Buddhist centre here in Berlin, and it's a Zen Buddhist centre. And in comparison to following the guided meditations that often come from Ajahn Brahm, it feels quite strict, I guess, in this Zen Buddhist centre as to, it's not a strict rule as, you must sit like this and so on. But it is very much, it is more guided and suggesting somewhat strongly this is, you should sort of aim to be sitting in a full lotus position. If you can't do that, sit in the half lotus position. And I find that this is very helpful for staying awake, and I feel like it's very good for my back and my posture and that kind of thing. But when I do a guided meditation following Ajahn Brahm, for example, he focuses a lot on comfort. Make sure that you're very comfortable so that you can get into your mind. And if I find if I focus on comfort, then I'm likely to fall asleep or something. And I was wondering if you've got any guide, I'm wondering if maybe with time, I'm still quite new to meditation. I can sit in a half lotus position, my knees get sore and that kind of thing, but then I definitely can't concentrate on my mind when I'm meditating. Would you think that's likely to come with time, or what would you suggest, or what advice could you possibly give?
So I'll advise you take the middle way. Meditate on a chair. Right? So that's the thing, when you kind of because Ajahn Brahm focuses on comfort, because you want to get rid of the body, right? so comfort, you fall asleep. It means your body is telling you that you need rest. You didn't have enough rest. That's why you're falling asleep, right? So because you felt relaxed and you fall asleep. So, but because you have sore knees, that's not a good to have in meditation, right? Sore knees, Obviously, you can lie on a bed of nails. That would keep your mindfulness really going. You don't want to do that. So your body, you want to keep body comfortable. Like Buddha did all these practices before, his enlightenment. He was starving himself almost to death, right? He didn't get anywhere into meditation. When he realized the middle way, he started eating, right? He had some bodily strength. He was comfortable, right? Then he broke through. Then he had samadhi, right? So if you haven't been used to this position of, sitting in your lotus position, right? And all of a sudden you start to do lotus, obviously you're going to have pain, And it's not good to have pain in your body. My meditations, like I do it on a chair. I started off with sitting cross-legged. I enjoy sitting cross-legged, but then I had sciatica. I hurt my back when I was a lay person. And so I had sciatica. I can't sit cross-legged for long, so I sit on a chair, which is comfortable, or lie on your back, right? So you can try all these methods, It's okay you fall asleep, that's fine, yeah. So that's what I would recommend you. You definitely don't want to have pain. You're not going to get anywhere, and all your meditations are going to be painful. So,
right, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's okay.
Martha's got a question, I think. Venerable.
Yeah, sure. Please go, Martha.
Are you muted, Martha? Martha, you're muted. You'll have to unmute.
Okay. Related to that, I used to have so much pain. I used to do double lotus.
Yeah.
Starting 15 years ago, and I finally realized I didn't think I was really meditating properly at all. Something was happening, but it wasn't. Anyway, what are your thoughts about, I sit now instead of even cross-legged because my knees are messed up too, Venerable? What are your thoughts about, I sit with my knees like this, just sit on and use preferably 2 cushions. What are your thoughts about that? Because I like being on the floor, and I like it helps me feel more grounded. But what are your thoughts about that versus a chair?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable, in. So, and you think you're making progress, you can try different methods. The best chairs for meditations are kind of like the dining table chairs, because they have good sort of like a back support. So I choose that kind of chair. But any posture you feel comfortable in, do that. But definitely you don't want to hurt your body. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No more meditation questions. I have one non-meditation one, if you wouldn't mind, Venerable.
Yeah, sure.
With the flooding on the east coast, how is the monastery at Wiseman's Ferry with Ajahn Kimavaro?
Oh, I'm not sure, actually. I don't know much about Sydney. I've never been to Sydney, so I haven't heard any news.
Oh, you haven't heard about
No, I think...
because Wiseman's Ferry is flooding.
Is it? Okay. But
I just wondered whether the monastery was... But no?
No, I haven't heard any news actually. Yeah.
I might ring the monastery in the morning and see if I can get some info.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty isolated there, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah.
All right, can I have
Yeah, sure.
a question, Venerable?
Yeah.
I was just curious, how did you come into Buddhism?
How did
How
I?
did it start? Yeah. 'Cause I think I saw you as an anagarika in Indiana long time ago now.
Yeah, actually, I've seen you when I was a lay person. I came to Armadale Group.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I've seen like many of you there.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I moved to Australia as a student in 2008. I was studying, and then afterwards I was like working. Then at my workplace, I sort of like I was talking with this person. He said he lived in India for 2 years. We were talking about yoga and meditation. And I didn't know much about meditation. I never kind of like meditated, like what I knew meditation was. And he was like, "Oh, there's this vipassana meditation here," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Then I booked myself. Then after 2 weeks, I went to do a like 10-day course. That was like SN Goenka. That's how I started. And then the first course I was like, wow, why I never heard about like Buddhist teachings before, right? And that kind of like opened my eyes, because I was born in a Sikh family, and but we kind of like used to go to like a Hindu gurus and stuff, so. And we had like in our kind of extended family who became sadhus, in the past. So, and and Buddha's teachings kind of really had an impact on me, And he's like, S.N. Goenka, he kind of like explains in a simple way, and he says like, oh no, who's responsible for rebirth? Like, in India, you say, oh, whether this God is responsible or this or that, you hear so many theories, but nothing is exactly that clear, as Buddha says that. He's like, that we are responsible, our reactions, our likes and dislikes, these cravings, which are responsible, they take us from one life to another. And so that's why then now from there onwards I was hooked, and that was my introduction to Buddhism. That was in 2011. Yeah. And then after a few months I was serving in a course there. I went back to work in the kitchen. I was there for like 5-6 days working, and I was sitting down in a meditation. Then I had this thought come up. It's like, why shouldn't I become a monk? And when I kind of like had that thought, and there was so much happiness inside me. It's like, yeah, I'm going to become a monk. And I was so happy. I was like telling other people in the kitchen, yeah, I'm going to become a monk. It's like, they were like, oh yeah, when are you going to become a monk? I was like, I don't know. Then it took me like few years to kind of like sort my permanent residency here and a few other things. And then I was talking to my mother one day, and because then they were saying, oh yeah, you can go to university now, and you can get things out of the way, how family and parents are with their suggestions and stuff. And I was like saying to my mother, oh, but I want to become a sadhu, right? She wouldn't understand what a bhikkhu means. Then she was like, what? She was like, crying. She's like, why you want to do that now? So, yeah, then after 1 year, in 2014, I came to the monastery. Yeah. Yeah. I think what was really other important factor was the reading the word of the Buddha. And later on, when I was a lay person, I used to read a lot of suttas, and afterwards kind of reflect on them. And I actually, when I became spiritual, I read I went to the Sikh scriptures or the Hindu scriptures or the sort of Upanishads, like the Hindu sort of scriptures. And for me, the most kind of which made sense was the teachings of the Buddha, It does. Yeah, I just couldn't find any kind of a fault, It doesn't leave you any kind of any kind of a thing where you can say, yeah, so, yeah. Which many of the other kind of texts aren't that clear, Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Venerable.
Where's your name from, Pinder? Where is that from?
Well. My parents are the same part, from the same part as you.
Oh, are they?
But,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm a Sikh as well.
Okay.
But I was born in Africa.
Okay.
My parents went over there, so.
Okay.
So, but I've been all over. Then I studied in England. I was there for 30 odd years.
Yeah.
And now I'm here in Australia.
Okay. Yeah. I thought so. I said is this, your name might be Indian, like Punjabi, like Pinder, either just Pinder or Bhupinder.
Yeah, that's it, Bhupinder. So,
Bhupinder, okay.
Difficulty in getting the full names. So
Okay.
It's easier.
Okay.
As long as you don't play basketball, I'm always and this I've been coming. So I started going to Armadale about 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Around the same time, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I've been going. Yeah. I mean, I used to tell Rachel when she said, "Oh, I've been coming for 30 years," and I said, "Rachel, you need to get a life." I say to myself, get a life. But now it's really great. It's really good. And this is your first time teaching our group, which is the Armadale International Zoom group.
Oh, no, actually I was here before as well. I was here before, but...
Sorry?
Yeah, I was here before, but that time I was by myself, so we had some issue with the recording, so it didn't went on to YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this is the first time I've heard you say, and it was very, very good. So thank you.
Very good.
Venerable. It was great. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
brilliant.
you so much.
Okay. No problem. Anybody have any more questions? No? Wow. Very good. Very good. So the other sort of few things I would recommend you is, like I said, what I found inspiring was reading Word of the Buddha, because many kind of modern Buddhists, they tend not to read the scriptures, They say oh, I'm just into meditation, but if you read carefully, just pick one sutta, maybe give it a week or so, right? The words of the Buddha are very inspiring. If you kind of like reflect on them, they're very inspiring. And you get a lot of joy out of it, you know. Like as a monk, what I meditate is, you know, I normally, like especially in the evening, I tend to kind of read and then sit afterwards, you know, because when you are inspired, then you have more sort of like a beautiful meditations, you know. And sometimes you are kind of like walking and somehow the word of the Buddha comes into your mind, you know. And it's like, wow. Because it gives you so many tools to deal, and which if you just say like, oh, I'm just into meditation, I don't want to, you know, get into the other stuff, you know. And that way you miss out on so many things which, you know, the teachings of the Buddha have to offer, you know. You know, so getting inspired is actually deepens your meditation practice. You become more soft and fluffy, and that's how you go deeper. You know, yeah. So that's why I wouldn't recommend you to gym that, like, you know, you kind of like, you know, sit on like, you know, hard, full on lotus position, you know. So be kind. You know, meditation happens in your mind. It's nothing to do with the body. You know, when the mind is soft, you know, you go deeper. It becomes still quickly. There's a monk. He comes to one of the disciples of the Buddha. He asked him like, oh, like how's this path, right? He said like, you know, what's the hardest thing to do? He said like, oh, getting inspired. You know, getting inspired is the hardest thing to do, you know. But when you are inspired, you know, then the next step is to meditate. He's like, oh, does it take long for the samadhi to sort of like, you know, come? He's like, no. When you are inspired, the meditation comes, the samadhi comes quickly. When there is samadhi, it's like it doesn't take long to get enlightened. You know, there might be 20 years or something, or 40 years, or a few lifetimes. But from the Buddhist perspective, it's you know, it's not that long. You know, if we consider we have lived, you know, so many, you know, countless lives, you know, this is nothing. But on the way, we get so much happiness and joy, which the teachings of the Buddha have to offer. You know, so inspiration is one of the key factors. You know, that's why in Buddhism, like the importance on metta is given so much. Metta, compassion, and wisdom. Right? When you are calm, or soft, or you know, or friendly, you know, wisdom would come, because other defilements of the mind aren't there. You know, they tend to kind of like, you know, fall down when you are soft. Right? It's like you kind of like try to break a pillow, a cotton pillow. If you punch it really hard, would it break? No. Because it's soft. It takes the blow. You know. It doesn't break down. So when you're soft, you know, mind is really powerful. You know, that's why you have so much peace and happiness. Yeah. So it's actually good to remind these kind of keywords throughout your day, right? when you are thinking you are bored or you're busy or whatever, or you're tired, think about these sort of words which makes you soft or getting inspired, or think about a situation, which tend to generate kindness in you, or mudita, that mudita, this kind of like a joy, seeing somebody, becoming happy, or becoming happy for your friends or your neighbors or somebody. So when you think about those qualities, it kind of like changes your attitude if you're having a bad day. Yeah. So we do all these kind of little experiment, try and what works for you. And I would definitely recommend you again and again, read the word of the Buddha. Yeah. Not just listen to Ajahn Brahm, that's pretty good, but also read the word of the Buddha. Pick up a like Dhammapada or there's a really good translations done by Bhikkhu Bodhi. He called it like this little booklet in Buddha's word. Yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah. So get inspired. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Any more comments or question? Shall we? No? Shall we call it a night? Otherwise, yeah.
That Venerable?
Hi, go ahead.
Oh, say.
Venerable, what sutta should we start with?
What sutta?
What sutta?
What sutta? You can start with any kind of suttas, right? For beginners, if you are a beginner, start with Dhammapada, and there are, what do you call those, small little suttas, like in Anguttara Nikaya or Sanyutta Nikaya. You can go to even suttacentral.net. So there are translations done by Bhante Sujato and a few translations of or Bhikkhu Bodhi as well. So you can start, you can explore what you like, right? And slowly you kind of like develop a taste of it, when you understand. We spend so much of our time on other worldly things, which don't give us any kind of, they're not really productive, right? But if we invest some time in word of the Buddha, they're gonna bring us, probably a lot of happiness for future. It's a good investment.
Thank you, Venerable.
Yeah, I think Martha was asking the book of, yeah? Yeah, in Buddha's words. Yeah. By Bhikkhu Bodhi.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Buddha's words.
By Bhikkhu Bodhi.
Yeah, and it's published. The one that I've got a copy is Wisdom Publications, Boston.
Yeah.
But they'll be all over the shelf, all over the place.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Another, do you think that if the group of meditators study the sutta together would be more beneficial rather than we study it by ourselves alone?
Well, you can actually maybe start with yourself, right? See, if you can understand. And because of this whole coronavirus, I'm not sure, how easy it would be. Or you can Zoom, maybe if you can find other people, or you can listen to suttas taught by Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Brahmali on, and also Bhikkhu Bodhi as well. You can find on the internet, on YouTube. Yeah, Bhikkhu Bodhi is a really good scholar, and yeah, so there are probably lots of suttas done for people, so you can understand easily. Yeah, and from there onwards, once you got the sort of like the basic, you understand the basics, then you can read by yourself.